Hey guys, welcome back to Living 757. Of course, school is back in, right? And with school starting a little bit earlier than it has in the past in this area, it's very important not just for parents, educators, but also the drivers on the road to be aware of the safety for the children going to and from school. And back to give us a little bit more information about how we can prevent those wild incidents. We have attorney at law with Huffman Huffman, Zach Hutchinson, back with us. How are you doing, Zach?
I'm good, Quincy. Good to be here.
Zach is back.
That's right.
I like
Zach is back.
Zach is back. So, Zach, what are some of the most important things that makes this time of the year very critical, like back to school?
Yeah, absolutely. With back to school, we see an uptick in the volume of not only vehicles on the roadway, but we see a lot more pedestrians, a lot more bicyclists on the road. When you factor that in with young children being at school bus stops, waiting for their ride in the morning, and what's present all year long, drivers not paying enough attention, you kind of put it all together and mix it up and kind of create a safety hazard. So this time of year, it's a time to be more vigilant when you're driving your vehicle.
More vigilant. Now, what are some of the most common accidents and incidences that can happen on the back to school days?
Sure. So this time of year we do see the uptick in pedestrian and bicyclist accidents. For one, we see that especially in and around busy intersections. We do see an uptick in accidents involving school buses, whether that's a school bus and another vehicle, or sometimes school buses letting children on and off the school bus. Sometimes we can see an issue with the pedestrian aspect of that.
Yeah.
And then two, or three, this would be school zones. That's a big area of concern this time of year, especially school pickup and drop off. So you see a lot of vehicles, a lot of pedestrians in a small space.
Yeah.
It can create all sorts of problems.
Yeah, now you mentioned, as we looking at some of the pictures in the video here, you mentioned the school zones, right? So a lot of the school zones, they don't have traffic cops there or police cars there. Like, these are just signs, speed limit signs, and they have flashes on them. And sometimes the flashes don't catch people like me speeding through the speed zones and through the school zones. And I've done it twice. I'm not proud of it.
Yeah.
I've done it by accident. One, I got caught, and the other one I was able to get out of it because school wasn't actually in at the time, and so I was able to call and let them know that. So, other than watching out for those type of signs, like, what's the most important part about being in the school zones?
Well, it's like I said before, you've got to make an effort to be more vigilant, especially this time of year, because within those school zones, you see the pedestrian traffic, you see the bicyclists crossing the roadway. So you've got to be on lookout for that,
right.
But you've also got to watch your speed. And then, unlike you, I'm going to take the fifth or plead the fifth. But it does happen, but you definitely have to watch your speed with good reason in these zones.
So because you're right here, I can ask you this. So if there's a situation where you didn't see the flashes on, but you were speeding through a school zone, how do we get out of that?
I don't think you do.
I
don't think that's going to hold up in court, unfortunately. Yeah, but if the lights aren't flashing, that's one thing. But the time of day should kind of tip you off to
You know what?
traveling.
It's so interesting because these pictures are so clear and evident that it was you.
Oh, yeah.
Like sometimes you can look right through the windshield, you'd be like,
Oh, in high definition.
oh yeah, that's me looking right up at all the bad things that I shouldn't have been doing. So now, in addition to being safe with that, if there is an accident, how do people go about, I guess, contacting you guys, but what are the next steps?
Yeah, obviously. Well, you're entitled to seek compensation for the medical expenses if you have a family member or a child who's hurt in a school-related accident with a bus or in a crosswalk, something like that. Obviously, reach out to an experienced personal injury attorney. The attorneys at Huffman Huffman, we see these accidents, unfortunately, too often. We are very familiar with them, so I would say give us a call. We're happy to answer any questions you have and help out with the process.
Okay, now for the parents out there, what are some of the tips that you can give those parents about when their kids are going to those bus stops and things of that nature?
Talk to them. I think that's the main thing. Have a conversation with your child about, if they're walking to school, they're riding their bicycle to school. You want to make sure that you talk to them about the route they're going to take. Maybe we avoid this busy intersection, we take this one instead. If you want to take it one step further, you could obviously walk the route with your child. You could ride the route with them on the bicycle.
Yeah. Yeah.
But just have that conversation with them. I think that's best practice.
Okay, well, you heard it here, have that conversation, and you also heard I cannot get out of any of those speeding tickets. Thank you, Zach.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, we certainly do appreciate it, and if anybody can get in contact or wants to get in contact with you guys, I believe your information was up there on the screen. If it wasn't, we will put it right back up there again.
422-HELP is the phone number.
422-HELP, and it's brothers-in-law.
That's right. Huffman and Huffman.
That is not how they sing. That is not how
I
they
butchered it, yeah.
All right, well, thank you very much for those tips, Zach. We certainly appreciate it. Now let's take it over to Ashley, where I believe she's with someone that's going to light up our lives.